Tonight, as you listen to this message, something in your spirit is already beginning to shift, because there are certain instructions that carry divine fire, and when a believer follows them with faith, every hidden force working against them collapses instantly. There are things happening in the unseen world around you, battles you didn't start, attacks you didn't invite, doors that suddenly became heavy, progress that stopped for no reason, and strange delays that kept increasing as if someone was fighting your destiny. Many people don't understand that spiritual attacks do not always come loudly. They come quietly, secretly, silently, like a shadow passing through your house, like a whisper in the night, like an energy that drains your peace without warning. But tonight, I'm about to show you something powerful, something ancient, simple, yet spiritually explosive. There is something you can rub on your door at night, a spiritual action backed by divine authority. And when you do it with understanding, every witchcraft monitoring you, every demonic presence visiting your dreams, every evil intention assigned against your home begins to collapse before morning. You may not realize this, but many of the strange patterns in your life, constant bad dreams, unexplained sickness, financial blockages, sudden anger in the house, confusion, arguments, fear, strange noises in the night, these things are not random. They are spiritual signals showing that an attack has been launched. But the moment the enemy sees a spiritual barrier raised at your door, their power breaks instantly. Tonight, I want you to listen carefully, because what I am about to share is not ordinary information. It's a divine instruction. It's something so simple that many believers overlook it, yet so powerful that witches and demonic forces recognize it immediately. When this is applied to your door, it announces to the spirit realm that your home is no longer open for intrusion. It tells every monitoring spirit that their access is denied. It tells every curse that its authority has expired. And the moment they attempt to approach, they encounter resistance that does not come from you. It comes from heaven itself. Before I even explain the instruction, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like something was watching you at night? Have you ever felt a heaviness in the atmosphere of your home? Have you ever woken up suddenly at 3 a.m. without any reason? Have you experienced moments where you feel tired even though you slept? These are not coincidences. They are indicators that the doors of your life and the doors of your home have been spiritually targeted. But the same way those attacks enter quietly, they will also collapse quietly and instantly when this action is taken. You see, many believers pray, fast, worship, and still face constant spiritual resistance, not because their prayer is weak, but because the enemy attacks the gates, the entrances, the doors. The door of your home is not just a piece of wood, it is a spiritual gate. And gates are places of decision, control, access, and authority. Whoever controls the gate controls what enters. This is why so many attacks begin by targeting the doorway. If the doorway is spiritually unprotected, anything can enter. But if the doorway is sealed by divine authority, no witchcraft, no curse, no evil force can cross it. And tonight, you are about to learn how to protect that door. Let me tell you something powerful. There are testimonies of people who performed this instruction and experienced breakthroughs within hours. A woman who couldn't sleep for months because of demonic dreams did this at night and slept peacefully for the first time in years. A man whose home was constantly filled with arguments and tension applied this at his doorway and woke up to supernatural peace. A family dealing with repeated financial collapse suddenly saw open doors of favor after doing this. Why? Because the moment the enemy loses access, blessings begin to enter freely. You might be wondering, but what exactly do I rub on my door? And why does it work? That's what I'm preparing you for. Because once you understand the spiritual meaning behind it, you will never take this instruction lightly. This is not magic. It is not superstition. It is not ritualism. It is a prophetic action, a symbolic representation of divine covering, something believers have done from ancient times whenever they sense danger, attacks, or spiritual warfare. And when this touches your door tonight, every witchcraft pursuing you, Every evil assignment against you, every demonic energy around your home will collapse before the sun rises. But I need you to pay attention. Don't rush. Don't skip this. Don't take it lightly. Sometimes the most powerful spiritual instructions are the ones that appear the simplest. The enemy fears what you are about to learn. The moment you perform it, the spiritual authority around your home will rise so strongly that any force approaching your door will flee before it even reaches the threshold. Something is already happening as you hear this. Your inner spirit is awakening. Your faith is rising. You can feel that this message is not ordinary. You can sense something shifting around you. And that is because the enemy knows that once you apply this divine covering, their operation in your life will end abruptly. They know their time is short. They know their influence is breaking. They know their access is closing. And that is why you must listen to every word carefully. Tonight, your home becomes untouchable. Tonight, your doorway becomes a spear, ritual weapon. Tonight, every witchcraft attack collapses before morning. And by the time you finish this message, your spirit will be ready for the instruction that will seal your home with divine protection. Don't miss what is coming next, because the secret I'm about to reveal is the turning point.
Many people wonder why life suddenly becomes heavy, why progress becomes slow, why blessings get delayed, and why strange patterns appear without warning.
You try everything you know. You pray, you fast, you work hard, you remain faithful. Yet something invisible seems to stand at the door of your breakthrough, blocking it again and again. There are people listening right now who feel this deeply. Every time you get close to a blessing, something goes wrong. Every time joy enters your life, something appears to steal it. Every time you rise, something pulls you back down. Sometimes it feels like your life is stuck in a loop. Different days, but the same battles. Different seasons, but the same limitations. Different prayers, but the same outcome. This is not a coincidence. This is not normal. There is a spiritual resistance at the gate. There are homes where the moment someone enters, they feel heavy and sad for no reason. There are houses where things break constantly. Money disappears, sickness circulates, and arguments explode like fire. There are families where everyone is talented, but no one prospers. Everyone is intelligent, but no one rises. Everyone tries, but nothing works. Why? Because something has been planted at the doorway. Something unseen stands at the entrance, controlling what enters and what leaves. Many believers are fighting battles inside the house without realizing the real battle is at the door. Think about it. You have prayed many times. You have worshiped. You have cried. You have asked God to intervene. But the change does not remain. Why? Because when the enemy has access through your door, he re-enters after every breakthrough. You push him out through prayer, but he comes back through an unprotected doorway. You fight him today, but he enters again tomorrow. You rise in the morning strong, but by evening you feel drained again. And if you are honest, you felt this cycle for years. There are people who experience sudden fear at night. They hear footsteps or unusual sounds. They feel watched. They sense something entering their room. They wake up gasping or sweating. They dream of shadows, strange creatures, or familiar faces doing strange things. They see dark figures standing at the door. All these are signs that the gate of your home has been spiritually tampered with. Some homes attract poverty the moment you step inside. People with good jobs suddenly lose everything. People with opportunities lose them overnight. People with peace become restless. When the door is spiritually corrupted, blessings cannot remain. They slip away and battles increase. Some homes attract sickness. You may notice that when visitors come, they feel fine, but when they stay longer, they fall ill. Children in the house get sick repeatedly. Someone recovers from illness only to fall sick again. Medicines only work temporarily. Why? Because the doorway is spiritually polluted and sickness flows in like air. Some homes attract constant tension. Couples who love each other deeply suddenly fight. Families that were close suddenly divide. Peace that was once strong disappears. Why? Because a spiritual force has been planted at the door, and every time someone enters, they carry that energy forward into the home. There are believers who cannot sleep well. They wake up at exactly the same strange hour every night. 2:33 a.m., 3 a.m., 3:33 a.m. These times are not random. They are spiritual checkpoints. Witchcraft activities intensify around these hours. Demonic visitations increase around these hours. And if your doorway is unprotected, the enemy can walk in freely.
You may think, but I don't see anything. Exactly. That is how spiritual attacks operate.
Invisibly. The most dangerous attacks are the silent ones. The enemy does not always come with noise and drama. Sometimes he comes quietly, as fear, as confusion, as delay, as sickness, as frustration, as heaviness, as a sudden wave of disappointment. But make no mistake, these are spiritual signatures. There are also attacks that come through monitoring spirits. Invisible forces assigned to study your life, watch your habits, track your movements, steal your blessings, and report your progress to those who hate you. When these spirits find a doorway unprotected, they enter freely, they observe, they monitor, they interrupt, they cause accidents, mistakes, delays, and misfortune. You may feel like someone is watching me, and you are not wrong. That feeling is spiritual. Some attacks come through envy. Someone becomes jealous of your joy, your progress, or your favor. They may speak negatively about you, wish against you, send negative energy, or practice witchcraft knowingly or unknowingly. When a person with a negative spirit targets you, the first thing they try to access is your doorway, because that is the entry point to your atmosphere. Many homes today are spiritually open. Anyone can speak evil from far away and it enters. Anyone can send negative thoughts and they enter. Anyone can send spiritual arrows and they enter. People think curses come only from rituals. No, sometimes one hateful sentence spoken in anger becomes a spiritual arrow. And if your door is unprotected, it enters and begins to cause trouble. Now listen carefully. Every problem that entered can be stopped. Every attack that began can be reversed. Every IDC that was sent can be broken. Every monitoring spirit that entered can be expelled. But it starts with the doorway. If the door is spiritually sealed, the enemy has no legal right to enter. This is why tonight's instruction is powerful. When you rub this on your door, you are not just placing a substance, you are activating a spiritual barrier. You are declaring that the gate of your home is under divine protection. You are announcing that any attack approaching must collapse. You are declaring that no curse, no witchcraft, no monitoring spirit, no evil force has the right to cross your threshold. And when heaven recognizes that seal, the enemy becomes powerless. It does not matter who sent the attack. It does not matter how strong the curse is. It does not matter how long the problem has existed. When the gate is covered, the force behind the attack collapses instantly. Tonight, something is about to break. Something is about to close. Something is about to be sealed. And by the time you apply this instruction, you will sleep differently, wake up differently, and feel a shift in the atmosphere of your home. The enemy will know that the door is no longer open, and you will know that victory has begun. The moment you decide that enough is enough, something shifts in the spirit. There are seasons when the enemy becomes too comfortable around your life, too bold around your home, too confident in the darkness he sends your way. But when a person rises with holy anger, when someone says, "This ends tonight," the entire spiritual atmosphere begins to tremble. And that is the moment heaven aligns with action. That is the moment doors begin to open and witchcraft networks begin to collapse. And tonight, as you prepare to anoint your door, as you prepare to rub this mixture on the place where attacks try to enter, understand something. God is not giving you a symbolic act. He is giving you a spiritual blow that leaves no space for negotiation. What you are doing tonight is not decoration, it is declaration. It is a line you draw in the spirit saying, demonic powers, this house is no longer your landing place. And every time someone draws a line like that, miracles begin to happen, because the door of your house is more than wood or metal. It is a spiritual gateway. It is a place where things enter and exit your life. It is a threshold where battles are either won or lost. Many people pray inside their homes, but never secure the doorway, never close the legal entry points, never seal the access points where monitoring spirits slip in. Spirits cannot just invade. They follow pathways. They look for cracks. They look for unguarded entrances. They look for moments where fear, anger, tension, or delay opens the spiritual atmosphere just enough for them to squeeze through. But when you take this simple mixture in your hand, when you rub it across your doorway with intention, you are sending a message that heaven recognizes and hell fears. You are telling the unseen realm that your home is now under a different law, under a different government, under a different atmosphere. As you rub this on your door tonight, I want you to picture something. Imagine every invisible arrow that was shot against you suddenly losing its direction. Imagine every witchcraft gathering that mentioned your name suddenly becoming confused. Imagine every evil bird sent to monitor your sleep suddenly falling without strength. Imagine every spiritual chain that has wrapped itself around your finances suddenly snapping. Picture the spiritual climate shifting the moment your hands touch that doorway. Because darkness hates when a believer awakens. Darkness fears when a believer acts. Darkness collapses when a believer refuses to remain silent. So tonight, you are not waiting for deliverance. Tonight, you are commanding it. Tonight, you are not begging for breakthrough. Tonight, you are enforcing it. There are people who have been feeling heaviness in their homes, strange movements at night, shadows in their peripheral vision, nightmares that repeat, whispers that try to plant fear. Some of you wake up at exactly the same time every night, as if something is watching you. Some feel drained as soon as they enter their own home, as if the environment is draining your strength. That is not normal. That is not random. That is not psychological. That is spiritual. And spirits thrive where gates are unguarded. But tonight, that ends. Tonight, your door becomes a shield. Tonight, your door becomes a barrier. Tonight, your door becomes a weapon. And the moment you rub this mixture on it, you are sealing the place where darkness has been entering. As you do it, whisper with your own voice, because your voice carries authority in the realm of the spirit. Your voice is recognized by heaven. Your voice is feared by hell. When you speak, things shift. When you declare, atmospheres respond. When you command, demons do not debate. So as your hand touches the door, let your voice carry fire. Say it with boldness. No darkness will enter this home again. Say it with precision. Every monitoring spirit is cut off. Say it with finality. I shut every spiritual gate that was open. And as you speak, imagine those words spreading like light across your walls, your windows, your rooms, and settling into every corner where fear used to hide. Tonight, as you rub this mixture on your doorway, you are not working in the physical realm alone. Your hand is physical, but the impact is spiritual. Your movement is simple, but the effect is violent in the realm of darkness. Because what God gives you is never weak, never symbolic, never empty. When heaven gives an instruction, it carries weight. And the weight of this act tonight is strong enough to break what has been sitting on your life for years. There are people who have been oppressed for so long that they forgot what peace feels like. There are people who have been attacked for so long that they forgot what good sleep feels like. There are people who have been drained financially for so long, they forgot what stability feels like. But tonight, restoration begins at your doorway. And I want you to understand something very important. Witchcraft collapses not just because you acted, but because you acted with revelation. Revelation is what activates power. Revelation is what releases authority. Revelation is what makes a simple physical act become a spiritual weapon. And tonight, the revelation is this: your door is not a decoration. It is a declaration point. It is the place where you decide what enters and what exits your life. And when your hand touches that door tonight, the spirit world will know that you have taken your authority seriously. There are houses that look peaceful on the outside, but are battlegrounds on the inside. There are families who smile during the day, but fight invisible wars at night. There are homes where arguments rise for no reason, where sudden anger appears like a storm, where confusion spreads like smoke. And many times, it is not because people are bad, but because something unseen has planted itself at the doorway, waiting to influence everything that walks through. That is why what you are doing tonight carries so much weight. You are not just rubbing something on a surface, you are removing the spiritual fingerprints of darkness from your home. You are wiping away the marks left by monitoring spirits. You are erasing the invitations that were sent without your permission. Every house has a spiritual atmosphere. And tonight, your house is about to shift into a realm of peace, clarity, purity, and divine protection. As your hand moves across your door, understand that this action is prophetic. You are cleaning the threshold of everything that has tried to enter. You are cleansing the place that has carried the footsteps of everyone who walked in and out. You are sanctifying the boundary between you and the world. And spirits respect boundaries that are enforced with authority. For too long, darkness has treated your home like a place with open access. But a sealed door is a spiritual announcement. It tells every demonic force, every monitoring spirit, every witchcraft assignment, every evil projection, this place is no longer available. This place is no longer accessible. This place is under new spiritual management. And the moment you take this action with faith, heaven takes it seriously. There are people who feel like they are being watched. Some feel like they are being followed. Some hear footsteps when no one is there. Some feel presence in the corner of a room. Some see strange dreams. Dream of shadows, dream of dead relatives, dream of strange animals. And they wake up tired, drained, confused, and spiritually weakened. These are signs of spiritual intrusion. These are signs that something has been entering your home through the gateway. And tonight, as you rub this mixture on your door, that intrusion ends. You will notice that the air in your home becomes lighter. You will feel a peace that you have not felt in a long time. Some of you will sleep through the night without interruption for the first time in years. Some of you will wake up with clarity instead of heaviness. Some of you will walk in your living room and notice that something feels different, like a fog has lifted, like pressure has broken. Because this is what happens when spiritual doors are sealed with authority. The influence of darkness loses its grip. The permission of wicked forces is revoked. The monitoring spirits that used to hover lose their access point. Witchcraft collapses when the entry is blocked. Evil feeds on open gates. But tonight, your gate is being shut with spiritual force. And when a believer shuts a spiritual door, nothing in darkness can reopen it. They can try to push against it, but they will fail. They can try to project against it, but their arrows will bounce back. They can try to whisper against it, but their whispers will scatter. Because the authority you are activating tonight is not emotional. It is spiritual, and it is backed by heaven. As you rub the doorway, picture a wall of fire rising around your home. Picture angels taking position at every corner. Picture your house glowing in the spirit like a fortress that no darkness can approach. Picture every demonic assignment written against your name burning. Picture every plan drafted against your children shredding. Picture every curse launched against your household dissolving. Because breakthrough is not something you wait for. Breakthrough is something you enforce. And tonight, you are enforcing it. At the very point where attacks have been entering, there are blessings that have been delayed because the entry to your home was spiritually contaminated. There are opportunities that struggle to manifest because something was sitting at your doorstep, blocking what God was sending your way. There are promotions, business ideas, open doors, financial breakthroughs, divine relationships and blessings that were supposed to come to you, but they found resistance at the threshold. But once your door is spiritually cleansed, the flow returns. The blessings that were stuck begin to enter. The resources that were delayed begin to move. The favor that was struggling finds its way back because darkness cannot block what God sends. When you have sealed the access point with authority, some people do not know that financial attacks often begin at the doorway. Spirits of delay sit at the entrances of people's homes. Spirits of poverty hide near the thresholds. Spirits of confusion linger where people step in and out. These are spiritual patterns that repeat in families. But tonight, when you rub your door with this mixture, you are breaking cycles. You are cutting off generational patterns. You are disconnecting your home from atmospheres of poverty, delay, confusion, and stagnation. You are declaring that your house will no longer be a place where blessings struggle to manifest. You are turning your doorway into a passage of favor. And this act tonight is not for show. There is a reason God often used physical actions to activate spiritual power. There were moments where people poured oil, touched thresholds, washed hands, lifted rods, spread ashes, drew lines, burned incense, and every action carried power in the spirit. Why? Because physical acts done why? Spiritual understanding become weapons. And tonight, your hand on your doorway becomes a weapon. Your voice speaking over your home becomes a weapon. Your act of sealing the entry becomes a weapon. And tonight, those weapons will work. You will notice that as you finish rubbing your door, there is a shift in your mind too. Fear will leave. Anxiety will lift. Your spirit will feel strengthened. There is something powerful about taking authority over the place where you live. It awakens something inside you. It reminds you that you are not weak. It reminds you that you are not vulnerable. It reminds you that you are not helpless. You have authority. You have spiritual strength. And tonight, you are using it. There are people who don't understand why their nights feel heavier than their days. They can move freely in the sunlight, but the moment darkness falls, something shifts. Thoughts become louder. Shadows feel closer. Sleep comes slowly. Dreams become strange. The atmosphere becomes thick. This is because most witchcraft operations function strongest at night. The night is the preferred hour of attack, projection, monitoring, and manipulation. And when your doorway is spiritually unprotected, your home becomes an easy target. But tonight, something is happening in your favor. As you prepare to finish this simple action on your door, you are shutting the gates against the activity of night war. You are telling darkness, this house is no longer available for your operations. You are establishing a spiritual rule that cannot be ignored. Some people don't realize the power of a door. A door is not just wood, metal, or brick. A door is a spiritual boundary. It is a place where blessings enter and where attacks attempt to cross. It's where people come in and go out. It's the separation between your inner life and the outside world. Whatever crosses a door carries inefa. You ends with it. That's why certain things escalate after certain visitors come. Some people walk through your doorway and leave behind an atmosphere. Their words enter. Their energy enters. Their spiritual weight enters. The moment they step out, the environment shifts. And many households are still fighting battles that visitors unknowingly dropped in their homes. But tonight, you are purifying the place where contamination entered. When you rub your door, imagine every negative footprint disappearing. Imagine every word curse someone brought into your home being erased. Imagine every jealous spirit that walked through your threshold losing its grip. Imagine every projection that came through the night air being blocked and reversed. For too long, darkness believed your home was open territory. But after tonight, any spirit attempting to enter will face resistance. Your doorway will become a barrier of fire. Your threshold will become a line demons cannot cross. The atmosphere of your home will become too charged for evil to operate in. There are people who experience strange financial setbacks after strangers come to their home. Others experience sudden arguments after hosting visitors. Some suddenly fall ill after someone steps foot across the doorway. This is not normal. These are not coincidences. These are patterns that repeat because a spiritual gateway has been breached. A blessed home becomes affected when the door is spiritually unguarded. But when you seal your doorway with intention and prayer, that cycle breaks. You are cleansing the access point where contamination entered. You are erasing the invisible trail that gave darkness access. Tonight, protection becomes your new atmosphere. As your hand moves across the door, understand that God works through simple actions that carry deep meaning. Sometimes the most powerful breakthroughs begin with small obedi. Hence, this simple rubbing action may look ordinary, but its effect is not ordinary. It is a declaration that you are taking back territory. You are reclaiming your atmosphere. You are resetting the spiritual temperature of your home. Before tonight, your house might have been vulnerable. Before tonight, spirits may have walked in freely. Before tonight, witchcraft assignments may have had easy access, but after tonight, that access ends. Your home becomes a sanctuary of peace. Your space becomes untouchable. Your nights become restful. Many people do not know that monitoring spirits use thresholds as observation points. They hover near doors, they sit near windows, they listen near walls, they stand near corners, they wait for moments of weakness, they track emotions, they monitor conversations, they follow routines. But a sealed doorway becomes spiritually invisible to them. They cannot locate the home, they cannot track the activity, they cannot send signals, they cannot operate the way they did before. It's like turning off a beacon that once made your house visible to the enemy. Tonight, your home is disappearing from the radar of darkness. And this is not imagination. This is spiritual mechanics. When you take a prophetic action in the physical, it establishes spiritual law. Demons understand law. Spirits respect boundaries set with authority. Darkness responds to believers who take action with faith. Tonight, you are not just watching a video or repeating a method. You are activating a spiritual law that reshapes the atmosphere of your entire home. Your presence becomes more powerful. Your prayers become more effective. Your home becomes a place where angels dwell. Think about the places where you felt heaviness before. Think about the corners where you felt watched. Think about the nights when fear crept in. After tonight, those places will feel different. It'll be like someone cleaned the air. It will be like something was lifted from the walls. It will be like peace settled into every room. Even the sound of your home at night will change. Some of you will feel warmth in your chest. Some of you will feel tingling in your hands. Some of you will feel energy rise in your spirit. These are signs that the spiritual atmosphere is shifting. There are blessings waiting on the other side of this cleansing. Money that was stuck will start moving. Opportunities that were blocked will start opening. Unexpected favor will come. Doors of prosperity will unlock. Connections will appear. Some of you will see financial miracles within 3 days. Some will receive unexpected calls. Some will find lost money. Some will receive help they didn't ask for. Why? Because the spiritual blockage at your door was removed. The blessing pipeline is clear again. The flow of favor is restored. Tonight isn't just about protection, it's about alignment. When your home is spiritually aligned, you attract what heaven has been trying to send you. When your doorway is spiritually cleansed, your life becomes easier, your battles become fewer, your mind becomes clearer, your spirit becomes stronger, breakthroughs come faster, decisions become simpler, you begin to see results you prayed for long ago. And all of this begins with this small act you are performing on your door right now. As you continue rubbing the doorway, say something from your heart. Speak protection, speak cleansing, speak freedom, speak peace, speak blessing. Your words tonight carry weight. They become spiritual construction. You are building the borders of your home with your voice. You are shaping the atmosphere with your declaration. Your home is listening. Heaven is listening. Darkness is listening. And after tonight, everything will know that this house is under divine protection. There is a moment, a very specific moment, when the atmosphere inside a home shifts so strongly that even the air feels different. This happens when a spiritual boundary is enforced with authority. And as you continue rubbing your doorway, I want you to become aware of something powerful happening around you. The spiritual world is not silent right now. There is movement, there is activity. The kingdom of darkness is reacting to what you are doing, because darkness recognizes when someone finally stands up and takes control of their environment. Demons understand authority. Witchcraft understands declaration. Monitoring spirits understand when their access is being locked. And right now, the atmosphere around your home is shaken because the spiritual line is being drawn. For many years, some of you have been dealing with silent battles, quiet battles, invisible battles, the kind of battles no one can see but you feel deeply, the kind that steal your sleep, drain your peace, and distract your mind. The kind that come as sudden fear, sudden anger, sudden discouragement. The kind that make you wake up tired though you slept. The kind that make your relationships break without reason. The kind that make your finances disappear mysteriously. These battles often enter through access points, and the first access point spirits target is the doorway. But tonight, those silent battles end. Tonight, those invisible attacks stop at the threshold. Tonight, your doorway becomes a warning sign to darkness, entry denied. There are people right now who will start noticing changes within hours. Some of you will feel lightness in your home immediately. Some will sleep peacefully tonight for the first time in a long time. Some will wake up feeling rested, energized, and mentally clear. Some will have dreams where chains break, walls fall, or shadows flee. These are signs that the atmosphere has shifted. Because when you close the gate on darkness, your home becomes spiritually breathable again. Peace begins to flow. Rest becomes easy. Silence becomes comforting instead of threatening. And this is what happens when your doorway is sealed. Your door represents authority. It represents ownership. It represents territory. And when you rub this mixture on it, you are reinforcing ownership in the spirit. You are declaring that nothing can enter without your permission. You are declaring that no curse, no projection, no monitoring spirit, no evil arrow, and no witchcraft assignment has the right to step inside. Your doorway becomes like a spiritual lightning wall. Anything dark that tries to cross it gets struck. Anything unclean that attempts to enter collapses. Anything monitoring that attempts to pass through becomes blind. Anything sent against you gets reversed. The moment it touches the spiritual boundary you've created, I want you to become aware of your authority right now. Most believers don't understand how powerful they are. Most people underestimate their spiritual presence. They don't realize that their voice carries weight, their actions carry fire, their decisions carry force. When a believer acts with intention, the spiritual world responds immediately. You are not weak. You are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of darkness. Tonight, your hand is releasing something. Your action is releasing something. Your voice is releasing something. And what you release will stand for years. As you continue rubbing the door, think about every attempt the enemy used to destabilize you. Think about every attack that came suddenly. Think about every delay you experienced. Think about every season you felt stuck. And know this, many of those battles were empowered because the gate was open. But after tonight, demons will stand outside your home and realize the entry point has been sealed. Witchcraft spirits that once moved freely through your threshold will find it impossible to cross. Monitoring spirits that used to hover will lose access. They will circle but be unable to enter. They will attempt but fail. They will try but end up powerless. Your door becomes spiritual armor. Some of you will begin sensing peace physically. You may feel a breeze even with windows closed. You may feel warmth in the doorway. You may sense stillness. These are not random sensations. They are signs of alignment. When you cleanse your doorway, your home becomes spiritually balanced. Your emotions stabilize, your thoughts quiet, your spirit rises. You start thinking clearly. You start hearing God's direction more easily. You start feeling confident. Your faith grows stronger because the noise at the door has stopped. For some, the attacks came through people who entered your home with jealousy in their heart or bitterness or hidden intentions. Certain visitors left atmospheres behind. Some left spiritual residue. Some spoke words that lingered. Some carried burdens that fell inside your home. Some carried spiritual shadows without knowing. And the enemy used those moments as entry points. But tonight, you are wiping away every trace of negative spiritual influence. You are erasing every footprint of darkness. You are cleansing every energy that doesn't belong in your home. Everything that entered illegally must leave. Everything that contaminated your atmosphere must exit. Everything that settled in your walls must detach. Your home is becoming spiritually sanitized. As your hand keeps moving across the doorway, become aware that you are doing spiritual surgery. You are removing what was hiding. You are extracting what was secretly growing. You are clearing out what was placed strategically to weaken you. Some of you have been feeling peace, pressure on your chest at night that will disappear. Some have been feeling sudden mood swings. That ends. Some have been feeling drained in their own home. That changes tonight. Some have been sensing heaviness or confusion in certain rooms. That heaviness is breaking right now because when the doorway is cleansed, the rest of the home comes into alignment. And this act you are doing is also communicating something powerful to heaven. It is a signal of obedience. It is a signal of faith. It is a signal of readiness. Heaven responds to believers who take action. Angels are dispatched to homes where authority is exercised. Protection increases where effort is invested. Tonight, you are attracting angelic reinforcement. You are drawing divine covering. You are inviting heavenly guardians to stand watch at your doorway. Some of you will soon sense a presence near your entrance. Not fear, but peace, strength, protection. That is a sign your doorway is no longer empty. It is guarded. Your home is becoming a place where blessings can land freely, where prayers manifest quickly, where breakthroughs come without blockage. When the doorway is spiritually open to heaven and closed to darkness, prosperity flows easily. Opportunities become frequent. Favor becomes normal. Unexpected blessings arrive. Because nothing is stopping what God is sending. You are removing the barrier. You are tearing down the wall. You are clearing the path. And everything that was delayed begins to move toward you quickly. Continue rubbing your doorway with the awareness that your entire life is being reset tonight. You are closing old chapters. You are breaking old cycles. You are ending invisible patterns. You are shutting long-standing access points. This act is more than protection. It is transformation. Your home is becoming new. Your spirit is becoming stronger. Your atmosphere is becoming pure. And why? Our life is stepping into a season where darkness cannot interfere. There are moments in life when the atmosphere begins to shift so dramatically that even your spirit becomes alert to something unusual. Tonight is one of those moments. As the doorway continues absorbing what you have rubbed on it, the spiritual realm is rearranging itself in your favor. What was once allowed to linger around your home is now being evicted. What once stood boldly near your entrance now trembles. What once whispered against you now falls silent. Because a believer taking spiritual authority is like thunder in the unseen world. The enemy cannot ignore it. He cannot pretend it didn't happen. He cannot cross a boundary set by faith. Darkness recognizes spiritual force even when you don't feel it physically. Some of you will begin noticing signs of spiritual activity breaking around you. Arguments that used to happen often will suddenly stop. Negative thoughts that used to hit you in waves will weaken. Strange noises you used to hear at night will disappear. Sleep paralysis will break. Those sudden feelings of being watched will vanish. You may even notice that certain people who brought negativity into your life will stop visiting, stop calling, or lose interest in approaching your home. This is not a coincidence. When the spiritual gate is sealed, anything that was attached to old access points simply cannot return. Spirits that use humans as carriers lose their entry. Jealousy loses its influence. Hidden witchcraft loses its grip. Your home will start becoming peaceful in ways you haven't experienced in years. For many, this peace will feel unfamiliar at first. Because when you have lived under spiritual pressure for a long time, your body gets used to the tension. You adapt to stress, to fear, to uncertainty, to heaviness. But once those things leave, your spirit expands. You begin breathing freely. You begin thinking clearly. You begin resting deeply. You begin hearing God more easily. You begin noticing blessings in places where you once only saw barriers. And it is all triggered by one act of spiritual authority at the doorway. There are households where the atmosphere has been polluted for years. Arguments, misunderstandings, financial fights, silent resentment, emotional coldness, unexpected sickness, random misfortunes, strange patterns of bad news. These are symptoms of spiritual pollution entering through unguarded thresholds. But tonight, something ancient and spiritual has been broken. You did not just clean your door, you cleaned your atmosphere. You did not just rub oil, salt, or mixture. You rubbed away spiritual contamination. And as the doorway transforms, harmony returns to your home. Unity begins to grow. Love starts to heal. Joy becomes easier. Even your physical space may feel brighter, lighter, and more welcoming. Some of you will wake up tomorrow and feel like your home has been rearranged, even though nothing moved physically. That is the shift of spiritual air. That is the settling of divine presence. That is the withdrawal of monitoring spirits. That is the silence of witchcraft arrows. When darkness loses access, everything in your home becomes calm. Even the rooms you didn't touch will feel different because the gate they depended on has been closed. Now I want you to pay attention to something very important. The enemy rarely attacks directly. He waits at the door. He watches for weakness. He listens for stress. He studies patterns. He looks for emotional cracks. And when he finds one, he slips in quietly. But now your doorway has become a spiritual alarm system. The moment any dark presence attempts to come near, it will sense a barrier it cannot cross. Your doorway will repel it, reject it, and send a spiritual shokwa that forces it backward. You will not need to fight every battle anymore. Your doorway will fight for you. Your home will defend you. This act is also reversing past damage. Some of you have been affected by generational battles, things your family faced long before you were born, patterns of poverty, patterns of sudden failure, patterns of relationships breaking, patterns of sickness or fear, patterns of stagnation. These generational spirits often enter through the atmosphere of a home. But your act tonight is breaking access points that have existed for decades. You are disconnecting from ancestral battles. You are shutting down generational pathways. You are declaring that whatever affected others will not affect you. Whatever entered their homes will not enter yours. Whatever tormented them will not cross your threshold. Your doorway has become a prophetic statement. This home belongs to God. And when a home is marked spiritually, angels surround it. Heavenly forces stand guard. They position themselves at each window, each wall, each corner. You may not see them, but the spiritual world sees clearly. And the moment darkness approaches, they retreat. Nothing unclean enters a home guarded by faith. Nothing cursed crosses the entry of someone who stands in their spiritual authority. Your dreams will begin to change too. Instead of nightmares, you will start having dreams of clarity, warning, direction, and peace. Some will dream of doors closing behind them, symbolizing your past battles ending. Some will dream of new doors opening, symbolizing opportunities coming. Some will dream of light flooding their home, symbolizing divine presence. Some will dream of shadows fleeing, symbolizing spiritual cleansing. All these dreams are confirmations that your doorway has become spiritually sealed. Your finances will also begin shifting. Why? Because when witchcraft access is blocked, your blessings stop leaking. When monitoring spirits lose entry, your progress stops being observed and attacked. When dark influences cannot cross into your home, your efforts begin to produce results. Money stops disappearing mysteriously. Opportunities stop dying at the last moment. Business increases. Ideas become clear. Motivation returns. Decisions become easier. Because the spiritual thieves who used to enter through your door can no longer enter. Your relationships will heal. Misunderstandings will reduce. Strained connections will soften. Tension will dissolve. When dark influences are blocked from entering the home, relationships begin to breathe again. Some people do not realize their home atmosphere was influencing their emotions. But now that the atmosphere is clean, peace becomes normal. Even your health will shift. Stress levels drop. Anxiety decreases. Rest improves. Spiritu. Our pressure often manifests physically, but when the source is shut out, the symptoms fade. That heaviness you sometimes felt pressing on your chest will lift. The sudden fear that hit you while lying down will disappear. The strange cold air in certain corners will vanish. Because those were not natural, they were spiritual signals of intrusion. Now your doorway has become a line darkness cannot cross. And the more you believe, the stronger this barrier becomes. Your home is now a place of refuge, blessing, prosperity, clarity, and divine presence. Witchcraft collapses before morning because you have spiritually rewritten the rules of your home. You have taken authority. You have established dominion. You have enforce a heavenly boundary, and darkness recognizes it. You don't even know how many things have been blocked from reaching you simply because your door has never been prayed over. You don't know how many opportunities stopped outside your home because the atmosphere wasn't clean enough for them to enter. There are blessings that search for an environment that matches their purity. There are breakthroughs that only settle where there is spiritual peace. And when darkness surrounds the door, everything that carries light hesitates. This is why some people pray hard, fast often, sow seeds, give offerings, worship sincerely, yet nothing flows consistently. It is not because they are rejected by heaven. It is because the entrance of their life is under attack. And when the entrance is under attack, everything inside becomes slow, stagnant, and suffocated. But today, something changes, because the moment you rub that oil on your door intentionally, prayerfully, with spiritual understanding, something breaks in the invisible realm. You are not just applying oil, you are declaring, my home is no longer accessible to darkness. You are decreeing, every force that once entered freely is now legally shut out. You are announcing, this door is no longer open to witchcraft, affliction, delay, or manipulation. Your hand becomes a hand of authority. Your movement becomes a prophetic act, and the oil becomes a seal that darkness cannot cross. There is a reason why evil attacks come at night. Night seasons carry silence, and silence amplifies spiritual activity. Witchcraft works in quiet hours because people are sleeping, unaware, unguarded, and spiritually relaxed. That's when they release arrows, move in astral forms, summon spirits, project themselves, and attempt to influence your dreams, your mind, and your atmosphere. But when your door is spiritually sealed before night falls, they find nothing to work with. They find no entrance point. They find no open gate. They find no emotional doorway, no spiritual crack, no access to your environment. They come close, but they cannot enter. They stand at the threshold, but they cannot cross. They attempt, but they fail. This is where your authority shines, because many people think witchcraft prevails because witches are powerful. No. Witchcraft prevails when people don't understand spiritual laws. And one of the greatest spiritual laws is the law of the doorway. A doorway is not just a wooden frame. It is a point of transition. It is a spiritual border. It is where atmospheres shift. And whatever controls your doorway controls your environment. But tonight, you take that power back. Tonight, the doorway becomes aligned with heaven. Tonight, everything that enters your home will be filtered through divine peace. You see, the enemy studies patterns. If he sees you praying only inside your house, he knows your boundaries are not fortified. If he sees you focusing only on internal matters, he knows your external gate is unguarded. But when he sees you touch that door with oil at night, he knows you are not careless. He knows you understand the principle of spiritual jurisdiction. He knows you have marked territory, and he hates marked territory because marked territory belongs to someone who knows who they are. There is a moment that happens right after you rub the oil. Something shifts in the air. You may not hear it with your ears, but the atmosphere reacts. The spirit world acknowledges your action. Light rises like a shield around the frame of your home. Anything that tries to cross is repelled. Spiritual vibrations change. The invisible world recognizes that the door has been claimed. This is why many people, after doing this, sleep deeper than usual. Because the soul rests when the environment becomes spiritually clean. And if you've been experiencing night disruptions, sudden fear, nightmares, strange dreams, heaviness sitting on your chest, shadows moving, mysterious footsteps, whispering voices, waking up tired, waking up confused, waking up irritated, after tonight, those things end. Because they won't be able to enter anymore. Your door becomes a barrier of light, and anything that doesn't carry the nature of God will bounce back. You will also notice something else. Your mood will shift the next morning. You will wake up lighter. You will feel more clarity. Your mind will feel open. Your thoughts will become more stable. You will feel motivated in a way you haven't felt in a long time. Because when witchcraft is blocked, confusion dies. When darkness is removed, clarity rises. When the spiritual clutter is pushed out, inner peace increases. You will feel like yourself again. There are some of you listening to this who do not even realize the level of attacks that have been happening at your door for years. You think it's just normal stress. You think it's just mood swings. You think it's just coincidence. that every time you are close to a breakthrough, something suddenly collapses. But these things happen because your home was never sealed, and a home that is not sealed is a home that welcomes whatever walks in the night. But after tonight, the story changes. Your door will not just be protected. Your door will become a weapon. Your entrance will become a place of judgment. Anything evil that tries to cross will be thrown into confusion. Anything monitoring you will lose visibility. Anything planning evil will lose strength. The oil becomes a line they cannot cross. Heaven's fire stands beside that frame, and you sleep under the covering of divine authority. Your nights will turn into peace-filled seasons. Your dreams will be clear and guided. Your spirit will rest without fear. You will live with spiritual confidence, and the enemy will always remember the night you took your doorway back. There is something powerful that happens when you take control of the entrance of your home, not just spiritually, but emotionally and mentally as well. Because the door is not only a place where people come in, it is where energies, intentions, and influences enter too. And when you seal that door at night, you are not only blocking demonic intrusions, you are blocking anything that carries confusion, fear, jealousy, or spiritual pollution from entering your space. You are declaring that only what aligns with divine peace, divine order, and divine purpose may cross that threshold. Many people live in homes that feel heavy without understanding why. They clean physically, but spiritually the air is thick. They open windows, but the atmosphere feels restricted. They change furniture, but the environment still feels unsettled. This is because the problem is not the room, it is the entrance. Whatever controls the entrance controls the entire environment inside. A home may be beautiful on the inside, but if the doorway is spiritually unprotected, the enemy enters freely and fills the space with invisible clutter. But once that oil touches the door, the atmosphere starts to shift. Peace begins to rise. The unseen heaviness begins to lift. The energy of the home becomes aligned with the presence of divine protection. After this act, don't be surprised if some people begin to distance themselves from you. Sometimes the cleansing of a doorway exposes people who were spiritually connected to your downfall. There are individuals who look harmless physically, but spiritually, they carry weight that pushes you down. Once your door is sealed, those people feel uncomfortable approaching your space. They may avoid visiting. They may stop calling at night. They may suddenly act differently. This is not a loss, it is protection. Light exposes intentions, and when the atmosphere of your home becomes purified, anything connected to darkness automatically disconnects. You may also notice that after sealing your door, arguments in your home reduce, misunderstandings decrease, emotional tension softens, because when evil influence cannot enter, emotional instability cannot flow. Peace settles in your spirit, and anyone living with you begins to feel the same. You will notice relationships becoming lighter, conversations becoming easier, sleep becoming deeper. Even children become calmer when the atmosphere is spiritually clean, because children are sensitive to spiritual shifts. When the home is under attack, they often become restless. But when protection rises, they respond with peace. There is another reason why this act works so powerfully. It interrupts spiritual monitoring. Many people underestimate how common spiritual monitoring is. Monitoring spirits, also known as watchers, operate by observing your life. They study your movements, your emotions, your finance, your weaknesses, your conversations. They do not always attack directly. Sometimes they simply gather information to use against you at the right moment. These spirits often position themselves at entry points, doors, windows, and corners. They linger around homes that lack spiritual protection. But when that oil touches your door, the first thing that breaks is monitoring. Watchers lose access to your environment. Their vision goes dark. Their pathways collapse. They are cut off from your private space. This is why after performing this act, you may feel an unexplainable release, as if someone who was observing you suddenly disappeared. That's exactly what happens. Spiritual surveillance is shut down. This seal also impacts the way your prayers manifest. Many people pray powerful prayers, but the results are delayed because the home environment weakens the flow of answers. Blessings struggle to land in contaminated atmospheres. But once the door is purified, The home becomes a landing place for divine intervention. Suddenly, prayers you prayed weeks or months ago start to manifest. Opportunities open. People respond to you differently. Help shows up unexpectedly. This is because the spiritual block at the entrance has been removed. Your home becomes a place where heaven feels welcome. Angels move freely. Guidance becomes stronger. Discernment becomes sharper. Your mind becomes clearer. You start understanding things without effort. You begin to recognize manipulation before it happens. You start feeling the presence of divine peace in rooms where you once felt discomfort. Even your sleep becomes a place where you receive insight instead of fear, and something else will begin to happen. Your life outside the home will start shifting too. Because when your home is protected, your soul is stable. When your soul is stable, your decisions improve. When your decisions improve, your future begins to align. You walk with confidence. You speak with clarity. You move with authority. People begin to sense a different atmosphere around you. They cannot explain it, but they respect it. They see something on you that makes them cautious about trying to manipulate you. Evil people who once enjoyed watching you struggle will start experiencing frustration. Plans formed against you begin to collapse without you doing anything. Words spoken against you lose their power. Delays that once followed you start to break. Unexpected financial breakthroughs begin to flow. This is because the doorway of your home determines the doorway of your destiny. When the entrance of your life is protected, everything connected to your future begins to move faster. And there's something very profound about doing this at night. Night rituals carry a depth that daytime actions cannot match. Because nighttime is the hour of transactions. It is when destinies are exchanged, dreams are manipulated, and spiritual attacks increase. When you rub that oil at night, you interrupt the enemy at the exact hour he expects the most freedom. You block him at the time he relies on most. You cut him off at the moment he assumes you are sleeping spiritually. This is why the breakthrough is so immediate, because you hit the enemy when he was most active. Tonight will mark a shift in your spiritual journey. Tonight, you will sleep with a sense of safety you may not have felt in years. Tonight, the powers that have been walking boldly through your doorway will be forced to bow. Tonight, the enemy will realize that your home is no longer unprotected territory. Tonight, everything that once entered freely will find itself blocked by a power it cannot understand and cannot cross. And when morning comes, you will know something happened in the night. You will wake up lighter, stronger, clearer, and more aligned. Because the oil does not just protect, it transforms.